Now, Ukraine is facing a sort of a total collapse, hammered by relentless Russian air assaults and also overwhelming ground forces. Kiev now confronts the ultimate challenge, a devastating freeze on U.S. military aid, including its most vital air defenses. Kiev now is asking Washington to let Europe purchase the U.S. weapons for Ukraine. But can it actually help? Our next report gets you the details.
The very foundations of Ukraine's resistance are crumbling under a brutal two-pronged assault. Russian forces, emboldened by a perceived shift in Western resolve, are intensifying their aerial terror campaigns. Radar-evading ballistic missiles, including the dreaded Kinzhals, are smashing into Ukrainian cities with chilling precision, targeting critical infrastructure and civilian areas alike. Luhansk falls after days of punishing bombardment. Sumy and Pokrovsk are under siege, with 111,000 Russian troops massed on one front and another 50,000 poised near the north. The real blow comes from Washington. Trump's freeze halts shipments of Patriot interceptors, missiles and critical munitions. Ukraine's air defense, already stretched to breaking, now faces the prospect of empty launchers and silent batteries. The halt comes amid US concerns that its own stockpiles have declined too much.
Well, the president's strategic outset with regards to Ukraine and Russia has been one of peace. He campaigned on this when he was asked on a town hall with CNN about that war. He said he wanted to just stop people from dying. And so peace has been the president's highest aspiration.
Moscow, which is steadily gaining ground, claims fewer weapons will end the war sooner. NATO has pressed the panic button. Several European governments are exploring plans to buy American-made weapons from their defense budgets for transfer to Ukraine. The money would count toward a new NATO defense spending number, but there have been no solid commitments yet. But the big question is, will it be too little, too late? Ukraine needs the weapons right now. The Russians know the situation, and in the coming days, the attack is only going to become fiercer. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
All right, now joining us in the broadcast, we've got Dr. Lauda El Roslicki, who's the founder of Black Trident Defense and Security Consulting Group. She's joining us live from Ukraine. Dr. Roslicki, now this is a difficult moment for Ukraine, where according to reports that have come in from the White House, the United States is suspending the shipment and deliveries of certain critical weapon systems such as the Patriot defense, air defense systems. How badly do you think this is affecting the defense of Ukraine?
Well, it's a serious blow to the defense of Ukraine. And it's not only the Patriot air defense missiles, but precision artillery rounds that are also going to be cut, the air-to-ground missiles. It's a whole slew of weaponry that Ukraine desperately needs to continue defending its own territory, which is legally has a right and a responsibility to do. We see lately, in June alone, Russia has fired over 5,500 drones into Ukrainian territory, including civilian cities. Hundreds and hundreds of people are dying and being injured, casualties every day. And we have to also keep in mind that hundreds of missiles are being shot. So this is a huge blow to Ukraine, and more so to the Euro-Atlantic community and democracy and freedom all over the world.
But what do you think is, going on in the minds of the Americans here? Because the Americans are saying that they are trying to put America's interests first. They're saying that their own reserves are depleted because the American weapons have been sent, not just for the Ukraine war, but also to the state of Israel when it fought against the Iranians. Therefore, the American resources are stretched. So what is happening here is not necessarily a deliberate change in policy, but simply the inability of the Americans to supply weapon systems such as the Patriot interceptors?
Well, I think it's crucial to keep in mind that Israel is negotiating with Russia as Putin is speaking with Trump at this very moment. So these two wars must be seen together, and the shift of American policy to support Israeli interests in lieu and at the cost of Ukrainian safety and defense is a real fact to be considered. And things are going to be spinning more out of control. However, I would like to make it a point that the United States was only providing between 40 and 49% of the weaponry that Ukraine receives. The other weaponry comes from its own development and other allies. So the European Union really, and NATO, needs to be standing up and filling up that hole that Donald Trump back in 2019 was already demanding. Let us remember, though, in 2019, when Donald Trump froze the military aid to Ukraine, that was the first reason for his impeachment.
Right.
So it's a hot topic.
Interesting, because this is not going to be an easy decision, of course, to make, and it needs to be seen whether the Europeans can, of course, step up to fill the vacuum that the Americans would create by not sending these weapon systems. Thank you very much indeed, however, for joining us with that perspective there.
You're very welcome.